Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. Today's host or co-host is Julian. Julian, how you doing today?
Julian is just as tired as he was last week and a little sick. But we will get there. I took some uppers. I'm kidding. I didn't do that. But I will take some downers later to go to sleep.
I don't even know what that is.
Give me a speedball. Give me some cocaine or something. I'll be fine. I'm kidding. All right. So we've got some news. I guess it's some rumors going into like the January transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to start with a little bit of a Sancho update. He has been removed from every first team facility amenity, I guess, including the dining hall, which I think is very funny. So now he can go eat some chicken nuggets with the under 13-year-olds, I guess. That'd be funny for him. It'd be funny for me as well.
Wait, crazy. This week or last week?
This came out, I think, late yesterday. That every single bit of the facility, he's just kind of closed off to, and including the dining hall. I like that. Like, do they just give him a janitor's closet?
Yeah.
You know, he's eating next to like the mops and brooms and stuff. That'd be funny. But he's still not going to apologize.
No, I don't think. Well, I don't know. I don't think he thinks he's wrong.
No. Well, and he has no one to really talk to about it anymore, except for the 13-year-olds and, like I said, maybe the cleaning ladies. Anyway, we'll move on from him.
Yeah,
he's done. I'll see him in Saudi Arabia next summer.
I don't know, man. I feel I'm like kidding. he might get last minute luck.
He'll get picked up from someone. He's still young. He's got a couple of years left to prove that he can fix his attitude and perform at the level that he's expected to at United, coming from Dortmund. But anyway, it looks like Chelsea and Bayern are potentially interested in Aaron Ramsdale for the January window, which would be very interesting. Arsenal fans would hate to see that happen because there is a bit of a safety, a bit of a security in having two very good goalkeepers. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
But it looks like David Raya is performing at the level where he does deserve to start.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Ramsdale, he might not be the most secure keeper in the Premier League, but we can't pretend that he's a benchable player.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to start somewhere. And even if you're an Arsenal fan, you have to see that as well. Like, you're going to want to see two rock star goalkeepers, one on the bench and one starting. But at the end of the day, you do know that Ramsdale does deserve to start somewhere else if David Raya is going to completely take that spot.
Yeah.
So I do get that. This is interesting for you, your boy. United they're looking at Jan Oblak to potentially replace Onana this early.
Oh wow! For real?
Yeah, I saw that. Again, that's a bit of a rumor, but there is some traction behind it. I think that one half of a season is way too early to want to do that, but I can see when a team like United and Chelsea are kind of scrambling for answers and they're looking for answers in the wrong places, they would want a quick turnaround and get him out really quick. I don't think that he's been that bad.
The team is so bad.
The whole team is bad. Yeah, there's also a bit of a Chelsea syndrome happening at United where everybody's playing at a D- level, except for one or two guys that are maybe at like a C average. And I think that they're looking for a quick and easy fix. I don't think that that's good for team morale. Straight up, that's not good for anybody. But Ivan Toney, potentially, I think United were interested, but Arsenal and Chelsea are very interested. And Brentford wants 60 million for him, which, maybe 50. Maybe 50. I don't know. How old is he again? He's in his mid-20s, like 25. I'll check that really fast.
Yeah. If I was to guess, I think that would be a pretty accurate guess.
I think so as well. Give me the answer very quickly, people. 27.
Yeah.
So 60 million for a 27-year-old that did just have 6 months of no games, something like that.
See, it's interesting because I don't know. I don't like the way the sport, I guess, in terms of sport, I'm just talking, let's say even football or basketball or whatever, right? But I don't like the way prices have been so inflated. Like,
right.
you pay you pay a player based on the promise that he's gonna be good.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not if the player is good, man. All this money they're giving this player. Back in the days, you had 60 million. You were getting David Beckham and Ronaldo at the same time.
Yeah, there was like a short list of 4 or 5 players at any given moment that were worth anywhere close to that.
Yeah, so
and it's something that I think the fans forget, and I think that more importantly the clubs forget. No player is really worth that money.
Yeah,
they're only worth it if you. And this is obvious, but people are still surprised to hear it sometimes. They're only worth what you're willing to pay.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's definitively understood that like no player is worth $100 million. Actually, it's just that 1 or 2 clubs are willing to pay that price. It does not mean that player is worth that money.
Yes.
So all these players are going for more money than they're worth, and that's not even a knock against the player. Like no player is worth that kind of money. And then the clubs, I guess they forget that they're on the inside deal. Like they should know better than anybody. No player is actually worth this money.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that are actually offering it, and then it's distorting how the fans view that player.
I don't know if it's because of how things are in the sports world right now, but that's I'm just against that. Show me some proof, then I can pay you the money.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, don't try to BS me.
Speaking of overpaid and overpriced players, Neymar, it looks like he threw a tantrum at Al Hilal. I don't know if you saw this or not.
No, I didn't.
So the coach, Jorge Jesus, criticized his attitude on the pitch.
Yeah.
Kind of in a more public forum, like in the locker room, which I'm not opposed to that. I think the coach can say whatever the hell he wants to the players in the locker room. It's when the shit at Manchester United happens, when like you're telling everybody in a Facebook chat or whatever that like, oh, this is what he's shit in practice. But no, so then Neymar apparently asked for the coach to be sacked.
Oh, wow.
And so not the first player in this Saudi experiment, and we can already see it going downhill as well, because Karim Benzema has said that he was not having a very good time either. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't want to...
They play in the same team.
There's like 4 teams that are owned by the public funding or whatever, and those are like basically all of the players that have gone to the Saudi experiment have only gone to 4 clubs.
Okay.
One of those 2, or one of that small group of teams. But I think that Ronaldo kind of sold a false bill of goods, as you would expect. I mean, being the first guy, probably getting the most money, probably getting the most in residual deals not under the table, I don't want to say that, but more sponsorship opportunities and just more financial options. He was kind of their spokesman to get everybody involved.
Yeah.
And it's no surprise that not everybody is as happy as he is. So Karim Benzema has already been outspoken about, I think a couple of weeks ago, he was ready to terminate his contract. Well, it's something ridiculous. And now Neymar, which it's no surprise that Neymar's having a problem.
Yeah. But you can't really blame the only person you can blame is yourself. So
yeah, 100%.
They wanted the money.
Yeah.
And I can see where each of them are coming from and trying to go to this team. I don't know if Benzema will have either staying back at Real, or I think the potential move for him would have been probably going back to France.
Yeah.
So but I don't remember if there was a team or other teams potentially lining up to get him in their own squad.
I mean, it like when he went to Saudi Arabia, like it made sense to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't that like
that's
And I don't mean it disrespectfully, but like the European football scene was already willing to go without him.
Yes,
like,
that's it.
Ballon d'Or winner, you knew that once he won that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was his peak that he could reach, and it took him a long time to get there. He was kind of a slow burn. A lot of the conversations with him, like in his early years at Real Madrid, he wasn't performing at the level that he was toward the end. He kind of did the opposite of what a lot of great players do. Instead of tapering off when they get older, he kind of had this like 2 or 3 year window late. And then once he wins the Ballon d'Or, you're like, okay, that really is it. Like you can kind of go anywhere, do anything. You could retire right now.
Yeah.
And it would kind of make sense to everybody, just to be done. So like, I'm not surprised that he went to Saudi Arabia. What I was surprised with was that he was not even that he was so vocal, but like that he had so many issues. It seems that a lot of these other players that are not getting the Ronaldo treatment. They're not enjoying it as much. And then that Neymar is getting the Ronaldo treatment, but he's also kind of just been known to be a bit of a bitch sometimes. Like it is what it is. And we've had this conversation off camera of like, the more money that he gets, it doesn't give him the incentive to play harder.
Yeah.
It actually gives him the reason to play worse or to care less, which makes no sense to me. But once you give these monster contracts, certain players are motivated. They see that you see something in them and they want to work harder. And he thinks, well, I'm already getting all this money. Why should I work harder? And that's the opposite mentality that a winner should have.
Yeah.
And especially what a team leader should have.
Yeah.
And in theory, when he went to PSG, he was supposed to be the locker room leader. That's what they paid for him to be there. Like, we are going to build everything around you. This is yours. You're going to get out of the shadow of Messi at Barcelona because you want that. And you think that you can carry your own weight throughout this thing. Turns out that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess he's just sort of leaned into that. And he's always going to have something to complain about. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there is stuff to complain about in terms of how the Saudi organizations run. It's not as professional of a setup as he's probably used to. But you're getting paid all that money. Like, we went over what was in his contract, and it was ridiculous. Like, anything short of a space shuttle and maybe some sort of like cryostasis where he can like freeze his body and live forever as a brain in a jar or whatever. He's gotten everything that he ever would need, I think. So the fact that he's still kind of throwing these tantrums is very Neymar. But it's like, I just want to know what he's going to do when he retires. And if he's always going to be like,
he's gonna go party with his sister.
Yeah.
Well,
like, I can see him getting into like business endeavors throughout his like 40s and 50s and like blowing them up because he's complaining about. It's like, I can just see him always being in the news for throwing a tantrum and whatever thing he's gonna do. And like, I think it's gonna annoy a lot of people. They're like, oh, Neymar kicked a guy off of his yacht again. Like, no, like in the water, not just like water. Please leave, like go to shore. But like, they just kicked him in the water.
Yeah.
Like I can see these things happening, but.
This weekend we had interesting matchups. Like, you had the Madrid derby. You had
please excuse my coughing, everybody. I'm doing the absolute best that I can.
The North London derby, and you had couple of good games. You got a Classico in France.
Yep.
Paris against Marseille. So let's try to talk about Arsenal, since Arsenal is your team. So what can you say?
Don't make that so public. I don't want to wear that so frontally. I feel like I would like to know. Like, I feel like I've been pretty unbiased.
No, yeah.
If someone hadn't heard that just now, that they might not be able to.
No, I mean, exactly. It's it's safe to have your own team. Don't be like me.
You jump ship for everyone starts winning.
That's what I love doing. Yeah. But is should we be concerned about the state of Arsenal, given that Arsenal of this season is not Arsenal of last season, right?
Yeah.
And should we? Well, for me personally, when I saw the lineup, I actually liked the lineup for once since Arsenal started. But them playing against Tottenham and they had a draw. What was the question? What's the question to ask, and what are all the responses? They playing in Champions League is going to be way different, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think about their performance? Should we be concerned? What are things that we can get to ameliorate in the games, or whatever the Arteta needs to do?
It's still early in the season, but it's not super early anymore.
Yeah.
It's no longer
six games
in. So I mean, there's still a lot of room to go ahead and like. That's also the thing. We've had this conversation on this podcast where name one team that is performing as perfectly as they are expected to or have in the last 3 or 4 years. I can't think of a single team.
City?
No. Well, they're not playing as consistent. Like, they are undefeated, but like they're not as consistent and as fluid as they were with Gundogan.
Okay.
Like they still are in a transitional period of what they expect themselves to be. They are still playing well. They're still the best team in Europe. I'm not saying that they're not, but they're nowhere near as good as they were just last season.
Yeah.
As treble winners.
Mm-hmm.
They still likely will not win the treble this year, just statistically speaking. But even they are not playing as well as they did last season. So every single team, it seems like, has had a bit of a slow get up. And I think the first team to really stick the landing and figure out who they are more consistently overall, especially with where they were last season was Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because they did not have a very good season last year, and they've come out the gate very quickly this year and rectified a lot of the mistakes they had.
Yeah, I feel like each game they're fixing every little
small
pieces.
Adjustments every single time.
So
whereas every team last year that was playing at like a peak or what have you, they're not quite there yet. So it's kind of been a role reversal. I do think that Arsenal miss Granit Xhaka more than they understand.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing a lot of thankless tasks in the midfield. It would have been nice to see him have one more season there where Declan Rice is not the only person playing the dirty cleanup, but also Fabio Vieira, I've told you this as well.
Yeah.
It seems like he's better off the bench.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Trossard comes in off the bench, and having those two on the left fresh, that really does seem to make a difference. Fabio Vieira did not look very effective on the ball this week, but I also think that it hurts not having an energetic Martinelli or a technically methodical Trossard in the top left. Gabriel Jesus is not a winger.
Yes, true.
He's also not a striker.
Yeah.
He is something in between, but I don't think that he's as effective on that wing. But they had no other options, and so that's what you kind of have to do. I think even though he's not playing his best, if you're going to make the experiment effective, you might need to you would think that the answer would be, okay, Havertz out, Vieira in, because Vieira comes in late and makes an immediate impact. Part of the reason that he makes an impact is because he comes on late. He's fresh.
Yeah.
It might make some people's stomachs turn, but like maybe you do need to just start Havertz and ride that wave out and
until he gets to that point.
Until he gets to that point there. And you just need to tell him, if you're gonna go over the fucking line, if we're like, we need to be able to pass the ball to you.
Yeah.
You cannot hide behind defenders.
Yeah.
You can't think that Arteta hasn't had that conversation. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I feel like what you're saying right now, I feel like that's kind of what Arteta is envisioning. That's why he keeps putting him in the game, trying to build his confidence, trying to make him understand that, hey, you gotta be looking for open spaces when you go over the line or the final third. You gotta want to create spaces and also make plays. You know, right now he hasn't yet found his mojo or his rhythm. But that's interesting. I wouldn't have substituted Jorginho for Rice.
Rice is
why?
And so Rice did get hurt. He has a back issue that happened around halftime. And Partey is still not 100%, but Partey will be 100% by the Man City game in 2 weeks, I think. Actually, Martinelli, Trossard, Rice, and Partey are expected to all be back 100% for the Man City game, which is very good for that side if that's what you're looking for. Also, you know, a draw against a Big Six team, even at home, can be acceptable at times.
Yeah.
Especially early in the season where no one's figured out really where they are yet. And frankly, you know, just because it's your London rival, you're allowed to say that they're playing well.
Yes.
And both teams did not look as good as they can be, or they've even shown that they can be this season. They both had sloppy games. Arsenal, there's no excuse for conceding a draw when you were up twice.
Yes.
You were consistently ahead. You did play a little bit better. The Maddison-Son duo is
amazing.
It's obviously working very well.
Yeah.
That's their biggest asset right now. That's their biggest continuity. Romero was very shaky, but also Basuma and Sarr in the middle were having a lot of trouble dictating the flow of the game. And that should have been exploited a lot more. They did not have a very good game, but Maddison and Son played absolutely outstanding, and that's what kept them in there.
Well, it depends. But when you watch the second half of the
Arsenal shut off completely.
You can see Sarr and Bissouma. They kind of had instances where they dictated the tempo, and you can see feeding Son too.
Basuma had a better game than Sarr overall.
Yeah, definitely.
He definitely picked
so
it up.
And the Maddison and the Son combination is really amazing, and it's interesting because he's really lethal. Yeah, and very, very clinical. And another thing is that transitioning to the 9 has been really effective for him as a player, and even in the sense of maturity. He didn't take touches, extra touches when it wasn't supposed to, the right pass at the right time, and more importantly, finishing when
and it's a very self-aware thing as well, because I mean he had several years where he was very good on the wing with Kane on the inside, but you know. And he's still quick. I'm not saying that he's not, but the older that you get, the less pace that you're going to end up having. And so they've sort of transitioned him at the right time, where he still has some good pace, and he's not losing confidence playing on the wing and wondering why it's not working. But also, he's not really competing with anybody for goals.
Yeah,
Harry Kane he's always a very dynamic player in terms of he can pass the ball off, he can take the shot for himself, but a lot of times, if Son would miss a chance or two, it looked like the offensive movement would then prioritize Harry Kane and leave Son kind of just hanging out. Whereas Maddison is now part of that build-up, and it's like Maddison does all of the layoff passes that Kane would do up top, and is not expecting to get the ball back for goals. Like, you know, it feels like the roles are just more defined. It's not a like. Well, it can be Son, it can be Kane. They're both going to pass to each other, but also take shots for themselves. It's like, no. It looks like Maddison is clearly just that number 10, kind of that maestro.
Yes.
And Son is the finisher, and they know exactly what they need to do, and they're not cross-streaming their priorities and their skill sets and kind of becoming unsure of what they need to do. They know exactly what they need to do, and that's why they're doing it very well.
So
also, David Raya.
Yeah.
I think we can say this really quick, and it's early in the season again, but his save just at the end of the first half, that laid out hand, that's got to be, by the end of the season, that's got to be one of the saves of the season, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be top 3, top 5, somewhere around there, because Alisson had a very good save again in the West Ham matchup the same day, but
Areola did excellent too.
Yeah.
But what about I really want to see what about the right side, Arsenal right side, because Tottenham had 48% of attack, or most of the attack were directed towards the right side.
Yeah.
And would you get over there? You have Zinchenko.
On the right, it's Saka and
Saka and
and Odegaard as well.
So is there a concern, or is there things to adjust? Because if you can't be playing like that in the Champions League, given those spaces that you're letting, teams that are really, really clinical and good, and don't let yourself to be scored upon, it's gonna be difficult to either come on or draw.
Yeah.
So
I think that it's because a lot of it is, and when I say Odegaard, I don't mean that it's his fault that he's a bad defender, but Arteta's really experimenting with this mobile midfield.
Yeah.
Even though Havertz didn't start, you know, you're expecting him to be right on the defensive line and just stand there, but you're really expecting Odegaard to ride up as an 8 that transitions into a 10.
Yeah,
and I do think that leaves some exposure because he still needs to be creating chances up front, and that kind of leaves that midfield open a tiny bit. And Saka's a hard worker. He's not the best defender.
Yes.
But I would still say for a forward, he covers well.
Yeah.
He covers as well as I think you can expect that first line of your defense to actually cover. But yeah, and I can see that. And Ben White is also a hard worker. He's not the most agile. He's not the most quick to get back.
Yeah.
But he's also, he doesn't run into spaces that pull him out of the play either.
Yeah.
I think that they really exploited that transition of Odegaard. And yeah, I think that they really wanted to boss the midfield. Tottenham did, and it didn't always work through the center of Sarr and Bissouma having to find passing channels in the dead center of the park.
Yeah,
they seemed dead set on that in the first half, and that wasn't quite working. They mixed it up a little bit in the second half when Arsenal ran out of steam, and that seemed to make all the difference.
Liverpool West Ham. That was an interesting turn of events.
Still top 6.
Yeah, I stand by my words.
I'm kidding. I mean, the hell.
I mean, what are the standings right now? So
before this matchup, they were still 7th. So you're not.
Yeah, I'm not far.
You're not far.
They're gonna be at the end of the season. Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm going for a strong top 6.
Top 6.
Well, the game was pretty interesting.
I'll put $5 on the line for that. By the way, I'll bet $5 on that. Anyway,
the Salah
comfortable win,
yeah, easy. Just I guess getting that good practice before Champions League. Europa.
Well, yeah, they're not. Yeah, but they Liverpool did not look as polished as they normally do.
Mm-hmm.
They missed a lot of chances, but the build-up looked great. The energy that they had made up for a lot of the missed chances. You can tell that it wasn't that they felt out of sync or out of rhythm with each other. It was just getting the ball in the back of the net that was the issue. But everything else around it looked nice. Gomez looks like a liability on the defensive wing.
Yeah.
That's not his natural position.
Yeah.
But if you're involved with Liverpool as a fan or in the staff at all, you're like, we cannot have him in the starting lineup anymore. And that's just the way it is. It's nothing personal.
Mm-hmm.
I see him, he's either on ice skates all over the floor, or he's late to recover on defense, or he's not a great defender on like with agility.
Yeah.
You're able to get across past him if you want. You know what I mean? Like if you're in the center, it's he just puts because he's deceptively big as well. He can just put his body in the way. But
Yeah.
if you have any bit of agility, you can outskill him really quick and cross the ball in for something potentially lethal.
It's one thing, right? One thing that I observed back in the days of Salah and Sane. Sane, for me, was a better creative player, and he used to create a lot for either Firmino or either even Salah, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like up till now, Salah has really fixed a lot in his game.
Yeah.
Now he is basically just a creative guy.
I was gonna say, like, I saw him building up.
Yeah,
a lot of
and
things
he
today.
used to be a lot of selfish. So
Yes.
with
Oh, yeah.
maturity and just like his football IQ getting,
and losing a bit of pace.
yeah,
'Cause
and
he's clearly nowhere near as fast as he used to be, and he used to take that and run with it. You could
Yes.
see him just blitz past everybody and then have a one-on-one with the keeper, and even if he had an open guy, he'd still try to rifle it past, and a lot of time it wouldn't go through. It just bounced right off the keeper or hit the post and go wide.
Yeah.
But he can't physically do that anymore. So
yeah.
he's had to adjust how he plays the game. So.
Now like that, you have him really composure, taking his time, looking at what is open, making those threaded through ball, the little ones, or even he has become really good at not being selfish as a player, and also being really tactical and just looking at the game from outside, more like a 10. And so
Well, I think that go ahead. Sorry.
that's what I had to say.
And I think that I think a lot of that has to do with the new midfield that they have as well.
Yeah.
I think Curtis Jones is surprising people this season. He
Yeah.
looks mature. He looks like he should be in that starting lineup. But you've subbed out Milner and Henderson for McAllister and Szoboszlai,
Yeah.
who are more tactical. They're more graceful on the ball. They allow for more creativity. Like they have a wider range of what they can do with the ball, where they can deliver it to, how quickly they can get it there.
Yeah.
And just everybody seems a bit more. Liverpool, when they won the Champions League and the Premier League, they were very frontal,
Yeah.
very aggressive.
Direct play.
How many times did you see Milner running as fast as he can, or Henderson, and Fabinho's the same way? Like, it was just front assault.
Yeah.
And now they are a bit more mobile and fluid.
Yeah.
And they've changed their style of play a little bit. They're still aggressive, don't get me wrong, but they're more intricate in their build up, as opposed to a bit more just ram it down your throat.
Yeah. But can we talk about like the little things that they have, or individually players have kind of adjusted? Darwin Nunes, he has kind of adjusted or fixed his finishing, right? Now he's more accurate or more efficient. One thing I like about McAllister is the ability to always look in the middle.
Yeah.
What can I find? Instead of going for something real, instead of being like just normal, right? I'll put it on the flank, I'll put it on the, or find the next available player near to
Look
me
for
and
something
just
cheap and easy over the top.
Yeah.
Like, he's looking for creative spaces.
Yeah. So the game was pretty good. I was a little disappointed by West Ham, but the team, I mean, they played how they were supposed to play. He saved a lot, and can't blame him. West Ham have to do better on. I don't know, the midfield and the defense. They have to do better.
The one thing about Nunes though was so funny. I was laughing as I was taking my notes. In like the 51st or 52nd minute, he misses a wide open shot on
Yeah.
that. Like it goes almost just straight up in the air. It ended up in the parking lot. It's a mess. And then 5 minutes later, he gets this ridiculously tight angled near put. I'm like how do you miss that one? But then this looks easy.
Yeah.
He gets that little dink over the top, just like puts a little toe poke on it. I'm like, guy, you got to be able to do both of those.
Van Dijk was amazing. You people thought he was done. He's not. It's the rebirth of the Phoenix. He is amazing.
I didn't think he was done. I do think that that goal, the West Ham goal, from was that Bowen?
Bowen, yeah.
Bowen brought it in.
Yeah.
That was poor defense from Van Dijk though. He just kind of sticks his foot out, thinking it's enough. He does get burnt there though.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets burnt when he had a little bit more pace before the knee injury. That really, you can tell that he's not as mobile.
Yeah,
but he always made it look like he didn't have to move that much. He knew exactly where he needed to move, and since coming back, it's like he still mentally thinks he can do that.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is he takes now he just looks lazy at times.
Yeah.
He takes the one step that he used to take, and it's not enough anymore. That's what it felt like to me. He just kind of stuck his knee out, and Bowen, great diving header. Once you start putting your head in the level of someone's knees, it's a very dangerous thing because you can get hurt very easily that way. I do think that if Virgil was a bit more attentive on that, he could have prevented that goal.
I feel like Liverpool is still, in terms of defense,
very shaky.
Shaky. Matip, I think
he's not first team material.
Yeah, like in a long time he hasn't played a full game, and he played a full game the other day, and there's still a lot of improvement.
Yeah,
and that's even good because they're not in the Champions League. They will have been butchered.
When is Konate expected to be back? Like, what is the deal? It's like I missed one bit of news about his update, and I just haven't seen him in a lineup in weeks.
I don't know.
I'll do research on that. Like,
yeah,
it's bothered me because I know that obviously he is your number one pick.
Yeah.
Out of him, Matip, and Gomez, like that's obvious.
Yeah.
And so there's got to be a reason, Mr. Ten Hag, why he's not starting. He's either injured or he's bad in training. I'm kidding. He's not bad in training, but there's got to be something going on. And I will check on it. But that's been where Liverpool have been.
Well, I think
inconsistent defensively this season for sure so far.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a specific date, but it looks like Liverpool, first game after the international break is against Wolves on September. Yeah, I don't think there's a timeline on it already. I can't say, but it looks like he's gonna be back pretty soon. Probably I would say the next 1 month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
Well, if your team is not Liverpool and they're competing for top 4, that's good news for you, I guess.
Right? Definitely.
Anything else in this game, or do you want to move on to?
No, this game was that's all what I.
It's pretty it's pretty self-explanatory.
I was just amazed at this little refining things that each individual player they're getting at age where it's not more about the brute force. It's about understanding what really works and what doesn't work. And
it is interesting as well. Just like one more on that, where every other team that was consistent last year is having trouble getting there, and Liverpool, who was very inconsistent last year, they seem to have rectified and corrected everything surprisingly quickly, especially with the other teams that are slowly kind of. You can see that the wheels are starting to turn, and people are starting to find form. But Liverpool seem to have just really come out of the gate strong.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, the Classico, the classic, Le Classique. So back in France. They had an interesting game, and that was so easy for France. They didn't even have Mbappe most of the time because he
left in the 30th minute.
He felt kind of injured and left. But the team was little. So the one thing, before I even get to talk about the game itself, the one thing I really want to see PSG playing against is teams like Arsenal or even probably like Brighton or or like Barcelona. The reason why I'm mentioning this team, I want to see them playing against teams that actually occupy spaces. Yeah, because playing against Marseille, man, they play close to like 15 to 30 minutes in their own half, in Marseille's half. So it makes. I saw Hakimi, great player, but most of their defense was really up.
Yeah.
They didn't even attempt to like Nice, with the counter attacks. They didn't even attempt.
Yeah.
And you had Aubameyang. You had I was really surprised that they didn't attempt things with.
Why? When was the last time that you saw Aubameyang play well?
Yeah, kind of.
When, maybe like 2018 with Arsenal?
Yeah, Colomwani was great though. Best, I think, 1 assist, 1 goal. He's really good right now.
Yeah.
So
and like you said, Hakimi is playing unbelievably.
No, Hakimi is playing this couple of weeks or this season. He is amazing. I wonder if next season he's gonna get a big contract to leave.
Yeah, well,
PSG.
I think we talked about that last week. Like Madrid could use him when Nacho, Garcia and Vasquez are not getting things done either.
No.
But no, that goal inside the first 10 minutes, that set piece goal.
Yeah.
An absolute rocket.
Even
what a shot.
Was it the second or the third goal that result? It was a result of his shot.
Colomwani gets a cleanup goal from Hakimi's shot just at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
And you're just like, the power that he gets behind that fucking shot. It's wild.
True.
And it takes a very fortunate bounce, that the Colomwani goal, because it goes over the keeper, hits the post, and then bounces right into like the keeper's lower back.
Yeah.
And just kind of stalls out right in front of him. So Mwani can come in and clean it up. And I mean, Mwani's quick enough to get there, but that shot had so much power on it that it takes a very fortunate bounce off the post as well.
Yeah, I feel like I forgot the name. Is it Enrique? I feel like he's understanding something about Hakimi, right? Like positioning wise, because Hakimi is young, he's fast, so he played as this, I would say, like a back wing where you can go up and you can go back.
Yeah.
Instead of playing as a left back or right back, whatever. So I feel like if in Madrid he might occupy one of the one of the left back position.
Well, especially at Madrid, because it looks like they've abandoned a 3-man front.
Yeah,
and they have a 2, which I don't think that they should do. But if they're going to insist on that, then yes, they need someone on the wing that's gonna live a little bit higher up and kind of become that right winger, that kind of in between space.
Yeah,
because they are losing a lot of power not having a 3-man front, and you've seen that in the last couple of games with Real Madrid.
Yeah. Oof. Well,
and we will get to them, but yeah, this was a 4-0 smashing. And you said it earlier of like, you want to see them against Arsenal. I
want to see them against teams that actually can occupy spaces, make them get in their own half, make them think, make them defend. Because defensively, I mean, you could see a little bit of that against Nice, but everybody is going to be like, whatever. It's the league. There's so many games to be won, Yeah. But in Champions League or teams like that will actually make them see the big default or the big thing to actually adjust. So that's what I really want to see.
Well, that's kind of always the issue with PSG and the French league in general. And you don't want to get into too many specifics because it's still one of the best leagues in the world. You don't want to say that just because it's like 5th or 6th in the world overall doesn't mean it's a bad league. Like, this is the world's biggest sport. Like 6th in anything in the world is exceptional. But that's the issue with PSG. They are obviously too good on average.
Yeah.
Than the rest of the French. Like, they're by far the best French team.
Yeah.
But because they spend so much time in that league dominating, once they play other teams in Europe that are capable,
yes,
they realize that they're not good enough. So PSG is really only interesting to watch. Yeah. Their only interesting matchups really are in the Champions League itself. Yeah. So like that's the only time that I'm interested in watching them. I didn't want to watch this.
Oh, for real? No, I watched it because of the attack and also just because of the squad. They're all really young. They all kind of know each other. And the other thing I want to see them in Champions League, I want to see how their attack measure to compare to other teams' attack, because the attack really, to be honest, kind of scary. Although we're gonna be like, they play in the French league, but it's really scary. They play with Mbappe. And I think was Ramos. Yeah, he had two goals. Two goals. Yeah. Dembele too played. The only thing you really have to, the problem about Dembele has always been the same thing. It's not really good at finishing or clinical,
and he can disappear as well.
Yeah, but this game he was amazing.
I thought that's
one assist.
I thought he was kind of quiet until that assist. Like, well, and it was funny. It was like clockwork because I was like, damn, he really hasn't been doing up, and he just gave the assist. Like, it's like right when I was saying it in my head was when Ramos scored that goal. I'm like, okay, never mind. There he is. I see him.
He's the 7-game goalless. I think so since he's been in PSG. But you got to figure out Mbappe got all his friends playing PSG, and everybody's happy.
Oh, they're so happy.
They're so happy.
They're so happy.
And there's no big ego. You don't have Mbappe. The team still perform because they know tomorrow that Mbappe might make them leave the team. So
it's such a circus, man. Like, it's so annoying. I look.
No,
I don't like being biased with this kind of stuff, but like PSG is such an annoying club to me for that reason.
Oh.
I look, they don't play anybody on the weekends. No offense. They always leave the Champions League much earlier than they're expected to. But no, you're expected to leave in the round of 16 as PSG now.
Yeah.
You're surprised if you get to the quarterfinals.
And the people,
and
the players.
And the club has so much money, and the players get paid so much. And they get to just kind of hang out in Paris and do whatever they want. It's annoying to me. But anyway.
Well, look at the Clásico. I mean, the derby. Atletico Madrid and Madrid.
Surprising.
Los Blancos, Casa. Us, we.
Don't say we.
We, because I'm a Madrid kind of fan. When they start losing, no. That's just how I operate. I'm not a crazy fan or whatever. I'm like, and I don't have no team. I have
You're
no
a fair weather
emotions.
fan.
But I see. One thing about this game. The question is, Madrid has started the season really kind of weak, right? They've been lingering. They've been on the edge, and they've been basically winging it every game, and always have to either come back at the last minute or score those
through
last minute
for the most part.
For the most part. Now the question is, did Atletico Madrid kind of expose Madrid's I want to say defense, or even middle and defense, or even the team as a whole?
Go ahead.
Because if you look at how the game was, it was really easy. We set up on the low block. We mark everyone. Right?
Don't say we. Don't say we. I won't allow it. I'm kidding.
So they look at Atletico goes set up a low block. Mark every Madrid player. They did kind of zonal marking, but it was really man marking. As soon as you get the ball, you had 3 people close down all that space. Then when Atletico Madrid does counterattack, you find out there's nobody. There's really nobody on the other side. You have Vasquez, nowhere to be found. Garcia is terrible.
Vasquez and Garcia, all 3.
Alaba should be out. For the longest time I've been thinking, getting him as a central defender might be. I don't know, unless you can have like someone orchestrate the defense. Because one thing that I realized about this game with Alaba is because he's played for a winger, left back or left right back for such a long time that he's not a natural central defender.
Definitely.
He doesn't have those instincts, right? And when you see the 2 goals, you had Morata always hiding in that space where Alaba occupies, and just either faking the ball like he's gonna go, not going, just at the last minute going to Alaba and heading it.
That first goal, so I do want to say something about that. One, it was the Morata header. What a cross from Lino, though. I watched that goal, and Alaba positionally is where he's supposed to be. He could have gone to the air, maybe, but you look at it, it's like that ball could not have been anywhere else than where exactly it was placed for that play to work.
But look at this though. If Ramos was there, right? If you look at Alaba, there's no scanning. In his head, the cross is coming. I'm gonna try to. If it sinks down, I'm gonna try to either get out of the defense, or it could go over.
And Ramos is also more physical and taller, though. So I do feel like that window would have been even more narrow with Ramos there.
At least go make the contact. At least go. You have to do something. You can basically see Morata just evading You know, just the action, and you see Morata coming on that side. I think Alaba could have done better, and even the second goal, same thing.
Yeah,
All the 3 goals were the same place.
They were the same play.
So that's where Atletico Madrid understood. There's no covering on that space.
Yeah,
and you have Garcia basically non-existent. I think that guy should be out.
and it's less Camavinga's fault, but because they had him a bit more of in a defensive midfield role.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Tchouaméni needed to start because he's much more physical.
Yeah,
Atletico's a more physical side. I don't know why you would put a finesse player that far back on the ball.
Yeah. First of all,
that's just not what they needed for that lineup.
This guy, you playing a derby, right? And Ancelotti, man, great coach, but I kid you not.
Why was Bellingham a center forward?
He looked like he was trying some of those Arteta moves.
Yeah.
You put Bellingham forward.
I don't understand that at all.
You drop Modric on. Well, he can definitely play it, but to be honest, I wouldn't have played him there. Yeah. Or if I played him there, I wouldn't have had Bellingham on that side.
Yeah.
Right?
And you shouldn't have had Kroos and Modric in the same lineup together.
Yes.
They need to be one or the other. You needed to probably have realistically Modric out, have him come in late. Tchouaméni needed to really stay in the middle and hold everything else down.
Yeah.
You needed Kroos there though, because Kroos looked okay.
No, Kroos looked okay, but probably
you can't have both of them together anymore.
Probably play him for 45 minutes, or even if you wanted to play them both, you would have had Modric and Kroos in the center midfield, and you have Camavinga holding.
Yeah,
but you have another winger, not Kroos, playing on the flanks, and you had Bellingham there. Bellingham, he's not a striker per se.
No.
That's why you really want to, and you got to understand transitioning from another generation. Where Modric play, I would have dropped Bellingham there and put either Joselu or put someone else there.
Yeah.
And had him play with Rodrigo. Because Bellingham is going to be your guy that, occasionally will score when things are difficult. But he's not the main scorer. Then Madrid run in the same problem. They still need a striker.
Yeah.
It was so evident.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't help that you're already having trouble scoring goals, and you decide to have a 2-man front instead of a 3-man front. Like you're taking part of that out, and also, we learned from his move from Dortmund to Real Madrid that Bellingham is more than just a number 6.
Yeah,
like he played it. He does deserve to be further up.
Yeah,
but not as a fucking forward.
No,
what was that?
And another thing, Madrid has I think Madrid has all the best defenders, the best midfield in the world right now in terms of individual capacity. Not because you have Tchouaméni, Camavinga is my guy. Camavinga can play any place.
He can.
You can just drop him anywhere.
He can.
Just short story. I think when he started at Rennes, he started as a striker.
Yeah.
But they noticed that this guy was so really good, and he was really good as a striker, but also he was really physical. And they started to drop him down.
Yeah.
And he was still good. Then they put him as a CDM, central midfielder. He was still good. Then they put him on the left back. And
they did that because they had to.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an injury? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, he can still do, he's not as good here as he is in the middle of the park, but he's still surprisingly he doesn't deserve to be that good everywhere.
Yeah. He, at least around most of those positions, he has that awareness, which is kind of
for being so young,
because actually he can play striker.
Yeah.
So, but actually I would have done that instead of doing Bellingham. I will tell you why. Because Camavinga plays striker for a long time, so he has those instincts. That's why you can see him going forward.
Yeah.
And because he's been a CDM for a long time, you can see him playing defensively. But I would have put Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni should have started the game. Yeah. If Modric started the game, it wouldn't have been that formation. I still have a big problem with their defense lineup. Rodrigo, Alaba, Garcia, Vasquez. Rodrigo is great, but he's lacking something. I just can't understand what he's lacking. But
he's having to cover extra space for Alaba.
That's probably why.
Older and playing technically out of position, and then also realizing I can't leave Alaba, but also I'm being torn because Vasquez and Garcia
Yeah.
are not giving us any coverage at all as well.
That formation was atrocious. You have problems of players not backtracking. You
Mhm.
know, once there's a counterattack, you got people walking around, basically United situation.
Yep.
And
Standing
another
around
thing,
watching.
yeah, I just watching as spectators and just watching everything unfolds.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to do, and honestly, this season, I don't think Madrid can be a top contender in the Champions League.
I think they can if they make adjustments. They can't do that again.
Well, because
they'll go far.
even Madrid of what 20, Madrid of 2020 or 2021, we didn't really 2019. We didn't really expect them until they won another Champions League with Benzema, but because they always had these crazy comebacks, which that's gonna be Madrid. But there's a lot to do in terms of attacking and defending.
I mean, still, and we've had this conversation as well of like, Man City aren't playing as well as they're expected to. Bayern Munich are not playing as well as they're expected to. Real Madrid are not. Like, at the end of the day, those are still the three most likely to win the Champions League, regardless of how they're playing.
Yeah,
because all three of those sides are not playing as well as they should usually play.
I would have because you watch the game. Alabama was I say Alabama. Alaba was. I
did watch that one too, though.
You watched that one.
I watched that one too.
Alaba was doing a lot of zonal marking. You don't zone mark players that's always beating you 1-on-1. Yeah. You want to mark him, take away his space before he gets to make a move. Because one thing Morata is good at, and that's why he's always offside. He's really great. He's really great off ball. Yeah, in the blink of a moment, off ball, you won't see him, and he's gonna be at that position, just waiting on that either of the cross. So you can't just let. Griezmann was exceptional.
Yeah,
that he looked like Griezmann of 2016-17. Morata is always gonna be like that sporadic player that when he's really in good health, man. But
if he's not, you're like, did we leave him on the bus? like is he still in the facility somewhere?
Madrid look really good. The Atletico Madrid, they look really good. The way they played the game, and I'm starting to see this formation a lot. The 5-3-2 on right up the jump. I'm not saying actually the 5-3-2 it's something I'm starting to really see, and I was surprised Koke is still playing. It's been a while I haven't heard of him. The way they did it, I feel like if someone like Arsenal could take some note and see how they do that, they will be lethal in the Champions League or even against City, because what they did was really amazing. I like the way they set up the low block, and they basically each time Real Madrid was trying to come in the middle with either Modric or even Rodrigo or Bellingham or even Camavinga, they took away the space and they marked him. You had three players, and it didn't even matter where you were at each time. So if you were going on the left flank, if you were going on the right flank, they just consistently took away. You had to try from far. That's what Kroos did, and that was an exceptional goal.
That was a great shot.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great shot.
That extra little touch that he gave to kind of to stall out the defender.
Yeah, but you think Atletico is gonna leave? Is gonna sell Oblak? I don't think so. Because I think that's probably the best goalkeeper for now.
I mean, he looked very good as well. No, so in all seriousness, I know that Ancelotti said he closed the Real Madrid transfer window early this summer. Do they have to get a new fullback in January to replace either Garcia or Vasquez?
Yeah.
You think you have to?
You have to. But so
where's Ferland Mendy?
Yeah.
Where did he go? Is he injured? What's happening? Because there's no way that he is performing more poorly than Vasquez. There's just no way. I just don't see that as a possibility.
Well, he was in the game, right? He substituted at some point. I forgot what minute, but
just like they need someone with more pace on those wings, because it's so easy to get crosses in around those guys. It's almost like they're not even there. It's almost like they're practice dummies.
That's why I was thinking of what is Rudiger lacking, because remember, I guess well, I guess the duo was different. When you had Varane and Sergio Ramos, they were covering for each other, so it's difficult to it was difficult to see this extra crosses just going around like it was basically an airport. Everybody was flying around,
and like,
so.
well, like you obviously you want a fullback that is pacey to bring the ball up and to get back on defense. You also want someone that can man mark and really provide good coverage in the wings. But if you don't have someone that does all of that, at least have someone with pace that can try to get their body in front of the ball. Maybe not even like Ferland Mendy's not the best defender, but he's quick enough to at least get his thinner, more athletic body in front of a cross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't have someone that can do everything, just have that.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously missing someone that can get their body in front of those crosses.
I would definitely look for a fullback, a left back for Garcia.
Yeah.
I would definitely try to see if I can get a striker, but knowing Madrid, I know what is gonna happen. They're gonna try to wait for Mbappe next season. Then, but if that's the case, you gotta find Garcia. You gotta find a replacement for Garcia.
Yeah.
To be honest, I will find a replacement for Alaba. At least even someone that can do 45 where they can switch, and I will find someone for Vasquez, because backtracking, that was not it.
No, not at all.
Basically, what was that? I forgot. Lino. When Lino took that course, there was nobody around him. This guy was just he had all this time to observe and just drop it.
And he made the most of it too.
Yeah,
amazing crosses. So who is Hakimi is obviously your number one on a short list for a right back.
Yeah.
For some reason, Real Madrid seem a bit more interested in Reece James.
Okay, Reece James is also a good one, but the thing with Reece James, he is injury
That's what I'm saying. It's not about him not being good enough or even being as good as Hakimi in different ways.
He's injury prone.
You can't build a defense around him.
Yeah,
like you just can't do it. And
especially
Chelsea,
going to Madrid's a whole different.
Chelsea want to build around him. You can tell, and he deserves it. He is good enough to build around, and it's not his fault. And you know, it is frustrating as a viewer that like it's not that you don't. It's not that you want to say that he's not good enough, because he is. But we can't pretend that he's not almost always injured.
Yeah,
we can't do that, and it's not fair, because he can't control that. Because at a certain point, if you're not playing well, the player has control of that.
Yeah,
they can change how they train, they can change their mentality toward on game days. But if you keep getting injured and it's not your fault, I mean, we're not saying it's not your fault, but there's no way that you can be a first team choice for the elite clubs. You just can't do it. So Hakimi, I think, and if you have someone else, let me know, would be the number one fullback option for Real Madrid. Who else is on that short list aside from Reece James? And then what does a very short list of center backs look like that would be an option? And I'm talking about it for January, not in summer, but like January. Who would be willing to let go of who mid-season?
That's a good one.
Because I know who they would want. They want somebody like William Saliba, but they're not going to get him.
Yeah, I don't think Saliba is leaving anytime.
He would play very well there, though, but he better not go.
Well,
hold on, really fast, and I don't just mean that because I'm an Arsenal fan. You don't want to see huge transfers like that going to the very top clubs. Like Arsenal's obviously building around him, just like. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of a deflating thing that it's like, oh, the biggest club in the world just goes and buys this massive contract on this young player that another team is trying to build around. It's like, to me, that's kind of poaching.
Yes. In
a way. It's just not always fun to see that kind of a thing, just money for the sake of money. And they don't spend crazy money like a Chelsea or a PSG or anything, but it would just be a sad thing to see. You're like, oh, okay, great.
It's the game. You got to get along with the program or you're going to be left behind. Well, I think Disasi, they can get Disasi.
They could.
Disasi is really good.
They could.
I think Chelsea is wasting him, so he better leave before things get worse.
If he's good by January, what about Badiashile?
Yeah,
he's okay.
He's okay.
And you can probably get him for a little bit cheaper. And he does seem versatile. He was playing at a time before he got hurt where Chelsea was also very vulnerable.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to see what a player can and can't do in this Chelsea squad. You kind of have to assume that they're all average in a way, because none of them are playing above average, and it's not always their fault.
Yes.
You're kind of blind buying when you buy from Chelsea right now because you don't know if it's the system it's only the system to blame or if it's the players' quality and mentality as well, because the club is just so mismanaged. And then they're going to ask for way more money than they're worth anyway, objectively speaking. But they're also not playing well.
Yes.
So it's kind of a scary thing to even attempt to buy from Chelsea right now.
Well, on the list of top facts, Barcelona won their first 5 games, and they also won their last 11 games against Mallorca in all competitions. And Sheffield United against Newcastle. I should have picked Newcastle as my top 6, but whatever. I stand by what I said. I think they're the only team, or one of the only team in Premier League that had 8 different goal scorers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those were some ridiculous looking highlights because not all of them are pretty goals, but you're just like everybody rush the keeper up, let him get a goal. You know what I mean? Like let something happen.
That looked more like a handball or like
let Nick Pope come up for a big header or something.
That was crazy. Did you have your power rankings of the week? Oh la la, go ahead.
Do you have your 5 or do you have a 10 this time?
I really don't know about 10s. I can do 5.
So
I could probably do 10 depending on how I see it.
So I have City number 1,
Ooh,
Inter number 2,
yeah,
Bayern number 3, Madrid number 4,
yeah,
Liverpool number 5, and those will probably flip pretty soon. Tottenham 6, Barcelona 7, Arsenal 8, Brighton 9, Leverkusen 10 still. And Leverkusen might drop out soon.
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Ooh, that's a good list.
Yeah.
Let me go. Let me think about. I think I'll have Bayern Munich first.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have City second.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably have Leverkusen third.
What? That's
I know,
ridiculous.
right? I mean, you look at what they're doing. They're performing.
Yeah.
I'll have Inter fourth. And Arsenal will probably come in 5th position. No, not Arsenal.
No.
Liverpool will probably come in 5th position.
Inter 4th though.
Inter's been doing.
I think they're a little. I don't know. Third.
You
at least third.
Third?
Second or third, I think.
Second or third.
Anyway.
But you can't take second from City, so you're gonna have to. And right after that, I'll put Paris Saint-Germain 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Definitely Barcelona 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do Tottenham 8. 9, I'll probably do Leipzig.
Okay.
10, I will do. 10 is actually really difficult. I feel like I want to pick a team in Germany. Or I'll probably do.
You could go with the French league top seed at the moment, Brest.
Yeah.
You could.
No, Brest used to be one of my good teams back in the days when I was playing Paris foot. That's betting. I don't bet anymore. But in 2016, when I used to bet, I bet so much that year I didn't take my national exam because I took the money and bet and went to bed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Brest used to be one of the upsetting teams, the underdogs.
There
but
you go.
At the 10th position, I will put Hoffenheim.
Okay. That works.
Yeah.
Just not Dortmund. They're perpetually.
No.
They're obsessed with drawing right now.
No, not that one. But their league has been interesting, and so far, just because of. It's weird. It's like everybody, like you probably said, teams are getting are still trying to adapt. So the team that beat this one last week is not gonna be the same. Which you're supposed to expect this team at the top doing this regularly, but they're not. And in their league, it seemed like a thing already. Leipzig is kind of winning most of their games, and
they look impressive.
Hoffenheim is also killing it lately.
Yeah.
And you know what? They beat Union Berlin.
Yeah.
2-0.
They're officially out. They're done. They're done with me. So really fast though. One of the next big Champions League matchups is City and Leipzig.
Oh,
so
I'm interested to see how.
That's gonna be.
I gotta dig deep into Leipzig's philosophy of play and all of that, but I'm interested to see how they do against the big guys. You know.
Yeah. Well, and they'll definitely get that in the Champions League.
I want to say Napoli, Real Madrid, just because it's gonna be some sort of defensive for the reason why I want to say it. I kind of want Ancelotti to see how difficult it is for him to play when he doesn't have a pure striker and the defense is shaky to create from the back or to build from the back to the top.
Yeah.
With teams that are heavily kind of defensive in the midfield or you know.
So and because you said last week, and he said this off camera too, so I'm making this now known for everybody else. You said that Real Madrid were going to demolish Napoli. I
think they're still gonna do it, but
I don't think that they're gonna demolish them. I could see like a 2-1.
2-1 situation.
But what I'm saying now
is, Real Madrid is really Champions League. Real Madrid. It's different when we play in Champions League. We don't care who's standing in our way. This ain't no league.
I get that, but consider this now. Since what we've seen, Osimhen against David Alaba.
Yeah.
And then Kvaratskhelia taking on Vasquez or Garcia. It doesn't like those matchups do not look.
It depends on how. You know what? We already know how Napoli is gonna play.
Yeah.
We already know, but they don't know how we are gonna play.
That's true.
Because Ancelotti can change the whole setup.
Right, and it won't be the same formation, but you can't help but think that the way that they performed against Atletico on the wings, those fullbacks, that they're going to be able to do much better against a Victor Osimhen and a Kvaratskhelia as well.
Now, one of my I think the fear will be to see how Napoli control the game, because I want to be able to see if they watch the Atletico Madrid game, that's going to be a problem for Madrid, because you can clearly see, because even Xavi, I think Xavi, no, not Xavi, Xavi, he said Atletico Madrid win was well deserved, right?
Yeah.
And if they watch the game, I feel like it's going to be difficult for Madrid in terms of taking away the spaces from them.
Yeah.
And especially that Madrid was looking lazy, unless they come with a whole different mindset in the game, because they didn't look great either. So if Napoli takes away all the spaces around and kind of mark everyone and makes it really difficult and set up this low block, and the difference will be executing on counterattack. They will do it. They will do it. So
well, and you said it, and I do believe it as well. Real Madrid have the best midfield in the world.
Yeah,
and I think that Napoli have one of the best as well. Not the best, but you have Zielinski, Lobotka, and Anguissa, who were absolutely instrumental in them winning Serie A last season for the first time in 30 years. Those are three of the main reasons that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
And I can see them being very competitive in a very deceptive way.
You know what's crazy? The way I see, the more I think about this game, I'm really kind of intrigued. Madrid, back in the days, Madrid, just 3-4 years ago, Madrid, really fast. Napoli, we won't even talk about Napoli. We'll just wait for the score. You know why? Because Napoli, they play very well, but they play on rhythm. They don't play too fast. They don't play too slow. If it was Madrid back in the day, Anguissa, Zabotka, Zielinski, they're not going to see whatever is going to hit them in the midfield, because they're playing at the rhythm.
Yeah.
Modric is not going to let that slide.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo and Marcelo is going to be in all that space.
Right.
So it will be really difficult for them to catch up.
And in a prime, Marcelo, I think at this point, could shut down a lot of what Kvaratskhelia does. Maybe not 100%, but they definitely miss having that strong fullback, especially with one of the better up-and-coming left wingers in the world.
Yeah, then you had Carvajal. And not this Carvajal, and you're talking about 16 Carvajal with that pace and technically and really technical. So I feel like that's what I was just thinking. But Labotka, Anguissa, and Zielinski, they have this way of playing, of dictating the tempo of the game and making it really slowish.
Yeah,
depending on how they want it to play and how they want to be feeding Osimhen and the like. But that was it for my power ranking, and that was basically it for today's show.
Yep.
I invite everyone to subscribe. We will be dropping all our social medias and channel or whatever down in our description.
Listen, give us that 5-star review on Spotify.
Oh, yeah,
give it.
Definitely.
Give it. We've got a couple already. Give it. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Goodbye. It's nap time.